All right. Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing? If we can do, a voice check, that would be awesome. If somebody can let me know if you can hear me okay on Twitch and also on Facebook. Facebook, I think, has a little bit of a lag, and YouTube. So if you guys could let me know, that would be awesome. And we can get started. Let's see, is the camera working okay? It seems to be working okay. All right, I think this is good enough. All right, so okay, good. Thanks. Twitch is good, and YouTube is good. So we'll go ahead and get started. Awesome. So here is the kind of the model in the state that it's in. I wanted to get a lot more modeling done in the last couple of weeks, but was really busy with a couple of other projects, so didn't have time. So I'll be doing more modeling today, and also we will be probably extending this thing out to 9, maybe possibly 10 weeks. Well, we'll see. All right, so for those of you that are just joining us and you have not seen what's been going on with this, is, let's see, I moved my mic closer. Let's see if that helps a bit. All right, nope, out of the way and facing me. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so everybody that's been, if you haven't been following us, we're making a spaceship, and we're going to have maybe a couple of compositions for it. One docked in a spaceship, which these outer rings are a part of, and also while it's being constructed, and also we're going to have it in space as well. So let me go ahead and, where's the station? Let's hide the space station. And all these little dots you see around the spaceship are little kind of robots. I'll get close in so you can see. They're these little robots that are going around and building the spaceship while it's being built. Of course, if we're going to zoom in to see these things, we probably have to do some cleanup of the displacement here. But we're probably going to be looking at it from far away. So from far away, I think that works out well. Let me turn perspective on too. And let me choose a little bit of a different, darker color. Maybe this will stand out more. Like so maybe. All right, nope. Made it worse. Maybe I'll make the background a little bit darker. Let's try that. Here we go. Nope. How about like maybe about there for the background. Here we go. All right. So yeah, so these are all the different little things that we did, and I did those in NanoMesh, I think, in the last couple of episodes, so you guys can watch that. So I'm going to hide all those guys, and then we also worked on these little reflectors, which today we're going to detail out a bit. And also, I wanted to let you guys know, if you're joining us, that this is a two-part spaceship, so they're basically, this thing will be constructed in space, and then it will do space exploration and, you know, maybe a transport, maybe kind of like a luxury kind of space travel type of thing. And also this back part comes apart. So there is a part of this, and I'll hide all these back parts so you can see. So this front part will detach on its own, and then go do stuff and come back and connect up with the back part. Also we have a area here which I'm going to be working on a little bit today. Down here, this is going to be an opening where little spaceships come out of. So this is kind of just from a size perspective. I'll also cover that, since I did cover it before, but some of you might be new. Is that we also are the scale of this compared to things we are used to. This is a 747 jet, and this is an aircraft carrier. So this is how big it is in reference to those things, right? So it's pretty huge. It's pretty gigantic. and it is it does support itself in space. So it basically is self-sufficient and can be gone for very, very long periods of time before it needs to be replenished. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and continue on. I guess the thing to do first is let's work on these wings a little bit. So I've got them separated out into two different pieces. And let's go to solo. Let's look at the geometry on it. Okay, and let's figure out some things to do. Now these close up. They are not open all the time, right? So when the spaceship is in flight, these are not open. It just opens it up near, like, let's say a solar source or something like that, to replenish energy from a kind of a solar perspective. And it probably has some other ways of getting energy replenished as well. All right, so if anybody has any questions, ask away. I will every once in a while pause and answer them for you. And yeah, let's see, do I have symmetry on? I do. Cool. So let's just bring this in a little bit here, like so. And I don't know if I'm going to be talking as much today. If you guys have questions, I'll answer them, but I should bring up the music here so that there is a little bit of ambient music behind what I'm doing. All right, quite a few people in today. Where are you all from? Where are you joining the stream from? I'd be curious to know. All right, we got Australia. That's great. I have yet to visit Australia one of these days. I don't know if I'm liking this. I think I'm going to go with another way here. Maybe try to use the slice curve to break this up. The problem with the slice curve is it doesn't do it symmetric, so I have to mirror and weld after every time I do it, or at the end of when I do it. Just fine. Oops. I also got a new keyboard, and it's a clicky keyboard, so I don't know if you guys can hear the keyboard sounds. If it's too annoying, I'll use my older one. All right, we got Tennessee, Brazil. So we got 3 continents so far. Ah, bonjour. Ça va? I do know French a little bit. Kind of going to do this the whole way. I should have done this before. So if you have the model masked, what happens is that if you do these cuts, these slices, it doesn't change the polygroup, and I don't want to change the polygroup. I don't want a polygroup per slice. So I'm just going to mask this so I don't get those polygroups. All right, so we got Europe, so that's 4 continents. Awesome. We just need somebody from Africa and somebody from Asia, and we're good. We'll have global representation. All right, oops. I think the reason why it's getting weird is because it's at an angle. That's why I should turn perspective off too. All right, I promise I'll get this done. Right, that's good. That's what I wanted. And then same over here. Well, Will, you know, if you are in Africa, tune in so we can have representation. Weld. Where are you going in Africa? Will Fry. Roseanne de Bruin is asking what kind of keyboard I have. I got a gaming keyboard. I got, you know, I've had Microsoft keyboards this whole time, and I just got their most recent ergonomic one, and it's okay. But I kind of wanted one with a little bit of a key click, so I ended up getting the Logitech G135, I think. And so far, I like it. It has pretty solid key clicks, and that always works out well. All right, so let's unmask this, and let's do a little bit of Q meshing here. Create a little bit of a relief there, and do that. Just on that middle part, maybe do it at the bottom too. All right, so that just basically gives it that middle part a little bit of a lift. And then for these guys, just a tiny little bit to just create that visual interest. Oh, I didn't want to get rid of it. Oh, did actually. Let's see if that's a happy accident. Nope. All right, that's good like that. All right, so let's work on the rear one. Same deal, although this one doesn't even have polygroups, so we don't need to worry about masking it. Oh, well, I guess maybe we will. Oh, we do have, oh, you're going to Uganda. All right, I thought there was somebody from Uganda. That sounds like fun. What are you going to do there? It's going on vacation or business? Mirror and weld, there's that. And then let's do, I think this one I'm just going to basically do normal. Just a tiny bit over here, but more pronounced over here. Like so. So this right now is all ZModeler. By far my favorite brush in ZBrush. Right. That's cool. That kind of gives it some sort of a sense of that it's going to be folded up. And I don't know if I need to do any more work on this. It kind of, I just want to leave them as plain as possible. Maybe later on we'll put some sort of solar paneling texture on there, but I think they're good for now. All right, let's move to the connector between these two. So these two things will stay with the front part of the spaceship. They will not separate. Actually, the rear ones might. Let me see what that looks like. So if we have the back off like this, maybe this one leaves with it. No, that actually, I think I like the way this looks with it on. So maybe it's one of those things where you can put it on or off, depends. But I could totally see how it would be useful for the rear part to have its own charging capability. All right, so that's good. Now I want to work on these parts right here. I kind of have a placeholder for them. So what we're talking about, let me close this up again and get rid of these wings, but we're talking about these kind of jet engines over here. And I kind of put these there as a placeholder. I'll probably put something else in their place, but let's see where they are. Oh, you're gonna shoot a document? That's awesome. All right, so I loaded up a whole bunch of other kitbash kits this time around. These are all from Oleg Ushinok, and he's got some good kitbash kits out there. Pretty inexpensive. I picked them up. They're pretty clean. They're you know, they're definitely cleaner than the last ones I used for sure. I'm not going to be using these pistons. I need to rearrange these. I kind of hate it when they're just in a row like this. Kind of like this part right here. So I'm going to be using my macro, which is kitbash duplicate, this one right here. And somebody, I think last week, asked where they can get that, and I will make it available to you guys in two different ways. One is one is for free with maybe a small kitbash kit, and then one that's going to be for a nominal price, but with a, you know, more detailed kitbash kit. All right, let's unify this thing. And oops, move it over to here. I'm kind of doing this other thing I've wanted to do with the ship. Just put this kind of part over on here like this. I'm also thinking of doing a tutorial on kit bashing. I do a little bit of it in my Gnomon video that I just released not too long ago, but maybe just do one completely on kit bashing and gumroaded. I don't know if it's going to be in depth as the other video, but you guys let me know if it would be useful to you. All right, and now I'm going to use the extender. Did I use extender or did I do offset? I did offset. I don't know offset. Okay, so maybe do something like this. All right, and there definitely doesn't need to be this big screw thing up here, so I need to figure out a way to put something on top of that. I've got a bunch of things that could do that job. Maybe one of these guys right here. Maybe this is always a good shape to use, but I don't think it'll work in this case. I mean, let's do something non-circular. Let's do this guy. All right, kitbash duplicate, copy, back to here. And paste. And the other reason why I haven't made this video or this macro available just yet is because I'm still tweaking some things with it too. Oh, I've got two copies of it. Don't want that. This one can go away. All right. But way too big for what we need. Let's kind of put it where it needs to go. Right about here. And resize it. All right. I don't have my custom UI anywhere. I'm sorry to say, and I do this kind of diatribe every single time. And it's because, I mean, if you like the colors, that's a whole other thing. I can send you the colors. That's not a big deal. But the only thing color-wise that I've changed is that I have this bluish color, and that's the only thing that's different. And I guess the main background is different too. So yeah, I think you can you save the colors? Let's see here, Z colors or eye colors. Yeah, you can load and save UI colors. I can make the colors available if you guys like them. That's fine. But the UI is always changing. I always change my UI. So if somebody says, "Oh, can you give me your UI?" I'll say like, "Yeah," but in a couple of weeks it's going to be completely different, and I can constantly change it. And the other thing about UIs is that I highly recommend you don't use another artist's UI. I recommend you make your own, because everybody works differently, right? So if you're working with somebody else's UI, then you're using their workflow, and maybe your workflow is better or different, right? So you could probably want to just make your own UI. It's easy enough to do it. Wow, you guys can see some really horrid stuff here that I can easily fix with smoothing later on. But again, I don't need to, I don't want to fix anything that I'm not going to really spend a lot of time on. All right, so that's done there. Now let's kind of see what we can put on here. Maybe we can put some other type of sensor. All right, so yeah, I'll see a way I can make the colors available. No problem at all with that, because I don't change that much. I mean, I kind of did it when I first was learning about how to change the colors, and then once I did it, I liked it, I was set. Let's see if we can use one of these guys. How about this one right here? Looks good. Kitbash duplicate, copy. Paste, unify. Yeah, the only other thing is, like, I have to make it maybe another macro that does the paste and unify in one shot. That will definitely speed up my workflow. So yeah, my ZBrush workflow is always a work in progress. I'm always changing things. I'm always adding to what I do, always learning new things from other streams that have been really useful. And let's see. All right, so I'm going to have to separate this thing out. Let's see, is it polygrouped? No. All right, let's auto group it. Okay, and what we're going to do here is, for this I'm using the mouse because it's kind of easier to do, is I'm just going to start choosing different parts. I don't want that one. Oop. I guess I should switch to rectangle real quick. Okay, don't need these screws. This music is like really dramatic for what I'm doing. All right, let's let ZBrush autosave, see if you have any questions. Oh, this is not a mech, it's a spaceship. Lomardi, Mr. Lomardi, or M. Lomardi. It's a spaceship, it's not a mech. It's used for space exploration, I guess, or, you know, it's kind of not a militaristic thing. It's more like a, I don't know, like a spaceship, Starship Enterprise, or one of the ships in Expanse or something like that. All right, so this is going to take a bit of a time to save, and I might need to, let's see, what do I have my autosave at? I have it 30 minutes, it's fine. We can wait a little bit. David Mercer is asking if I have a website, and I do, and good question here. Let me go to it, and I'll show you guys all this stuff. I usually covered that at the beginning, but I forgot this time around. So my website is kermaco.com, so kermaco.com. And if you go there, here's all my social media, email, if you want to contact me, Facebook, and all that good stuff. And I mostly, things that I like to do the most are mechs. So I've got a bunch of mechs here. And I do character work as well. Got some character work here. And some vehicles. And my website's kind of needs to be updated severely. And I'm probably going to move it to ArtStation. So I'm still working on it. But yeah, this is my website. I also have an Instagram that I have newer stuff. So this is something that I'm working on in ZBrush as well. It's from it's kind of taking a 3D scan. So this is from 3D Scan Store, the body, and I just put a head on it in ZBrush and modified it a little bit and changed it up. So yeah, I post a lot of stuff on my Instagram that's newer. So the Instagram feed is newer stuff than what you see on my website, which will soon be updated. That's kind of on the to-do list, but it's closer. The other thing I should also mention is that if you want to watch the previous ones of these, if you go to ZBrushLive.com and go to presenters up here and find me in the presenter list, there are all the previous episodes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Today is 6. So these are all the different episodes of this spaceship. And then before that, we did a spinner, like in Blade Runner. We did one of those. And I think that was season 2. And then season 1 was a robot that we did. And it was this kind of really cool mechanical robot. So you can watch all 3 episodes. This one's, of course, midway. Hopefully that answers your questions. Do I use greebles for detailing? Yeah, I do. And if you watch the first and second episodes, Mr. Sanson, you will see how I did all the greebles on here on the spaceship, like all these greebles. You'll see how I did them. ZBrush has got a really nice way of doing it. But I will also be adding kitbash parts, and that's partially what I'm doing right now. All right, let's get back to work here. Hope that kind of gives you some idea of some of the things that I do. ZBrush is definitely my primary tool of choice, and I use it every chance I get. All right, so I'm liking this thing here, but I have to figure something else out with it. These can go. Oops. Sometimes it's kind of hard to do this click with a tablet, so I have to do it with a mouse, which is fine. That's gone. And let's get rid of these 2. Oops. All right, I'm going to delete hidden all these parts that I don't need, and let's see how this looks with everything else. Let's turn transparency off for now. And maybe this is like some big arm or something that it has that it uses to probably rotate it this way. So maybe this is like a big arm that it uses to, grab things or pick stuff up. And I probably want to make this, I want to angle it to coincide with the base and this part, like so. And then let's extend it a bit too. Yeah, greebles are fun, and greebles are, whoa, what just happened there? Okay, let's try this one more time. Extender. Why is it? Oh, because it's got hidden stuff. Let's delete hidden again. All right, one last time. Extender. There we go. And I want to extend it from 2 different places. So let's extend this first. All right, that's good. All right, and we'll have to see if we can find something to put on this front part. And I'm just going to see if this really does anything to the silhouette. It does. It makes it look good. All right, so let's go fishing for new parts. The thing I'm looking for here is things to attach the wings with, and there's plenty of really cool parts to do that with. Maybe this one's kind of interesting, so is this one. Let's start with this one right here. And copy, switch over to the spaceship. And let's paste. Yep. Unify. Right. And let's bring those wings back up. If you guys didn't know, there's kind of a better way to pick, if you don't want to scroll up and down in this, if you press, I think it's N or M, one of the two. I think it's, yeah, if you press N, the letter N, it shows you all the parts and you can pick them from there. So these are all parts we worked on before. I guess that's all of them. Maybe it's a bit distracting. Oop, didn't want to do that. All right, let's look at this new part we just added. Right here. Something like that, smaller. There we go. All right. Okay, let's see. Okay, so Mr. Sampson's asking how I create the greeble planes. I'll talk to you about that in a minute. All right, Philippines. We have Asia. Awesome. So we have all continents except Africa. Mr. Sampson, if you logged in from Africa next week, we'll have that one too. All right, I'm going to mirror and weld this over to the other side. That looks okay. And then what I want to do is duplicate this thing. And place it over here. I don't know if these are going to work. I'm not too happy with the way they are. It's kind of funny because notice that it's not really fully mirrored here, but I can fix that. See what that looks like, if it's reading well. So yeah, the greebles, the way they work is you basically just use projection displacement. So it's pretty simple. You need to have enough subdivisions to support it, and then you just use displacement maps. So let me see if I can find some displacement maps to show you. Like so. Where did I have some? Yeah, the greeble parts are really nice. They really make a big difference. There. So displacement maps look something like this. There we go. Like they just look like this. They're just images that are grayscale, and you know, when you apply them to ZBrush, it basically will use these as depth information, and then you can just project them onto brown surfaces or all sorts of surfaces, and you get some really nice greebles out of it. So yeah, I would really highly recommend that you definitely look at the first 2 videos, and I show you how to do that. And not only did we do the greebles, oh man, we got another dramatic music thing here. Skip it. You know, that's where you can find out more about the greebles, and not only can you use the greebles to kind of make the surface look good, but you can also use it to cut through the object to create like construction parts. And I'll show you guys that too if you weren't on the previous streams. It's kind of a neat thing to see. So let me do that real quick. All right, so this is kind of coming along well with the wings. I might need to put a couple more pieces to hold this up, but we'll get back to that. Thing I was going to talk to you guys about was this, which is, let me hide these principal parts here. So that one's hidden already, and then this one as well. Okay. And then here is the kind of the parts we're talking about. So there's the back part, and notice it's got some parts cut away from it. And then let me go ahead and show the front part with the parts cut away in it. Yep, this one, right? So here we've got these parts with insides showing, and then we've got inside parts. So we've got this right here, which is kind of more like just the scaffolding inside as the ship is being built. And again, all this is done with the same method of projecting. Okay, let me just do this here. All right. So you guys can see that now not only do I have kind of the outside of the spaceship, but I also have the inside cut-ins. And I have a bunch of different ones of these. So I have got it like this is the first stage, right? And then I've got one that's kind of more of a second stage where there's more inside parts added to it. And I don't know if that's coming up or not. Let's see. Oh, I think this is the back part. That's why. Here it is. Okay, so this is kind of more, it's more constructed and there's more parts in it. And again, if you get up close, these kind of look horrible, right? But from this distance, they totally sell the idea that this thing's being built and there's inside parts or whatever. And you apply a little bit of paint and overpaint on these things and they'll look really, really good. And then here's kind of level 3 of it being constructed, right? And I've got this both for the front and the rear part. So that's in the first few episodes. If you want to know how to do that in ZBrush, it's pretty nice to do. And I don't know any other program you can do this in. So it's kind of a treat to have this capability. So here, let's just close all that. Again, all these are going to be part of a composition we're going to do at the end. So we'll get to that probably in the next couple of weeks. And let's turn the original one of these on. This back part is staying in. I don't know why. Oh, because it's selected. That's why. All right. All right. So yeah. So somebody's asking me what my preferred subdivision level is. So I don't really have a preferred subdivision level per se. I'd like to have many subdivision levels though, and that's kind of important for me. And what I mean by that is that I kind of would like if you look at this part right here, let me solo it out. Okay, so this part is pretty detailed. And again, if I get up close, you can see some kind of jagged edges and some weird things going on here, but from here it looks fine. And those jagged things, like if they're going to be in my shot, I can always go in and smooth them out. But for now, they're good. But the thing is, though, this thing right here is pretty high poly. So right now, this thing is about, looks like about 2 million or 21 million or 23 million. I wish they'd add commas to this thing. It'd be easier to kind of see that right away. So it's 23 million. So this is really, really high resolution, right? But I also have this all the way down. So this is subdivision level 7. but I have a version of it that's all the way down to subdivision level 1. So this is kind of the first subdivision level, right? So I've got decent topology, and it goes all the way up to 7. And the reason why I keep all these subdivision levels is that I can make different changes to different parts of it at the different subdivision levels. So if I need to make bigger changes, like primary form changes, I do that at subdivision level 1 or 2. And then if I'm going to work on details and whatnot, I can do those at the higher subdivision levels. But I always like to have multiple subdivision levels, right? So I don't usually just stick to one subdivision level. And even when I'm working, like if I start with a bust or something and I'm sculpting on it, at some point I usually stop and ZBrush it, and then I always have kind of lower subdivision levels. And the other thing also is if you have lower subdivision levels like this, you can UV it, right? So then you can put textures, or you can export it out into game engine or whatever. And I think I've got UVs for this guy, don't I? Yeah, I do. Yeah, see, so I have UVs on it as well. Not the best UVs. I just use UV Master, but it's good enough. So then I can put decals and stuff on it later on, right? And these UVs will work at the higher subdivision levels too. So yeah. Hope that answers your question. I teach ZBrush at a couple of schools, and I usually spend a lot of time talking about what I just told you guys, and I make sure the students understand and work in that way too. Because if you just work with one subdivision level, then you're basically not utilizing the full power of ZBrush. Hope that answered that question. And then what I'm going to do now is move this front one. Oop, I masked part of it. Just a little piece here. All right. Yeah, managing your subdivisions in ZBrush is kind of a important thing to be able to do. Oh, I don't have symmetry on. How about that? Let's see if this works. Oops, nope. Nope, that didn't work either. All right, I guess I'll have to mask this other one too. By the way, a lot of these parts are not good topology. I should mention that, but that's okay because it's not going to matter. And if I need to lighten the load, so to speak, or have them be less dense, I can always Dynamesh or ZBrush them later on if I need to. All right, all this work just to do that, and I wanted to take these ones and rotate them around. So put my gizmo on here like so. So now with just kind of moving that thing around like that, I've exposed the other side of it, which is the same. It's the same thing, but it's got a different look to it, which makes it more visually interesting. And let's see if I can move this to somewhere else, like so. All right, that's good. I'm going to take this whole thing and duplicate it to the back. Whoa, this part is still UV'd. I need to bring it back. I'm like, where did it go? Oh. come back and also let's get you back to subdivision level 7. Mr. Sampson's asking if I rendered in Keyshot. Yeah, I mostly use Keyshot, but I also use other renderers too. Sometimes I use Octane. I like Octane a lot. Sometimes I use, why is it on this tool? Sometimes I use Octane. Sometimes I use V-Ray. V-Ray is nice too. Sometimes I use, I tried to use Redshift for a while, but I kind of wasn't very happy with some dialogue I had with them, so I kind of maybe will not use Redshift anymore. It was nice. I mean, it was good, but I could do everything I could do in Redshift in Keyshot and in Octane especially, so I think I'm just going to stick to those. But, you know, I'm not going to disparage Redshift. I'm sure it's pretty good. It was fun when I used it. But, yeah. But you know, Keyshot is, for me, the most kind of easy to use, straightforward renderer ever made. Well, I'm getting some weird things going on here with this guy. I don't know what it is. Let me solo it out. Oh man, these were there from before. How about that? Yeah, you got to make sure when you're doing these things that you don't grab the other parts. So we'll have to do this over again. The other thing I really like about Keyshot is the integration with ZBrush. It's so straightforward. Like you just press one button, it shoots everything over to Keyshot and you're done. Like that just saves me so much time. Everything else, you have to export everything and do a lot of, you know, tedious work. With Keyshot, it's pretty straightforward. With the ZBrush bridge, it's a dream come true. It really is. All right, this is starting to look good like this. Okay, so now let's just duplicate this whole thing. Wish there was a way to toggle quickly between object symmetry and you know, the symmetry version of this and the non-symmetry version of it. So let's turn symmetry back on, move this over. By the way, if you guys didn't know, I think I talked about it a little bit last time, but Pixologic just came out with a free version of ZBrush, which is awesome. Like a whole totally free version of it. I think it's called ZBrush Core Mini. If you've never used it before and you're interested in using it, you have a chance to do that. I think they have trial versions too, so. Let's mask these parts. This time let's make sure we have, yep, that's fine. Whoa, where did the other parts go? Oh, there they are. All right. Let's mask all these guys. This one's going to go there. Now let's mask this guy. I could separate these out to make my life easier, but this is pretty straightforward. It's not that bad. Ooh, I got to fix it at the bottom, but that's not a big issue either. Here I'm just basically aligning these things so they go on right. So with this kit bashing kind of workflow, I'm always looking at ways of making it more efficient. So the macro was kind of the first step, but I'm probably going to create other ways of working faster with this so that you know, these kinds of operations go pretty fast. So here it looks like this one, these two are okay. This last one I did was okay, but these other two seem to kind of not be okay from this angle. Maybe they're good at the bottom. They are. So let's do this one first. So this kind of thing is really, you know, it's very good with ZBrush because you can manipulate a lot of polygons. So I've got, you know, I'm basically playing around with millions of polygons here and doing this thing. And I don't know if any other program can handle this many polygons. So this task is kind of well suited for just using ZBrush. Right, and then lastly, there's this first one. Oh man. This one's got an issue too. Let's see if I can fix it easily by, well, let's just wait for now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this. Did I duplicate the wing? What the hell? Where did those things go? Huh. I think I appended those things like right here. Did I? Oh, did I hit delete instead of duplicate? I probably did. Ah, man, I lost all that work. Sucks. I don't think I saved before too. Well, when something like that happens, what I usually do is I go, well, maybe I can figure out an easier, faster way of doing that. So let's just look through the kit bash parts here. I think this is the one I used. So I'm going to use this one. And go back. Unify. Right. So this time what I'm going to do is instead of doing it on both sides, I'm just going to do it on one side and then duplicate it. Oh man, it's like a whole bunch of stuff that went wrong here. Let's see if I can, yeah, here we go. Turn this off and do this, do this. I wonder if just one of these will be adequate. Now some of these kit bash parts you can kind of manipulate, like let's see if we can with this one. See, now this one doesn't work because these circles become these ovals. So I'll either have to hide them inside the thing or figure out a way to deal with them. But part of how you get good in ZBrush, and I don't know if everybody knows this, or anything really, is if you make a mistake, then you do it again. You'll do it better. You'll learn a lot of things from it, and you will know not to do it again. So the problem I did was instead of hitting duplicate, I hit delete. So I lost all 4 of those things and all the work we did to align them. And also with the masking, I'll show you guys a better way of doing that masking bit too. I knew it, I just kind of got lazy. All right, here we go, there's that. We'll do the mirror and well just because I kind of want to see what these look like on both sides. see, I've got some questions. Let's see, somebody's asking Arc Kappa, I don't know Spanish, so I'm assuming you're saying, let's see, I don't know what esos is. Mini detalles probably is many details. Yeah, I do those with alphas. I don't know if you're asking if I do the mini details with alphas, but the answer is yes, and you can see how I do them in the first and second episode. David Mercer is asking if I export to 3D Studio or Maya. I rarely do nowadays. I used to do a lot of modeling in Maya. I still do for work sometimes, but I do whatever I can in ZBrush, and I can do quite a bit of it. I can do about 80 to 90% of what I need to do in ZBrush nowadays. It's gotten so good with modeling that, yeah. It keeps getting better and better. The Z-Modeler brush definitely changed the game. But I still do sometimes export stuff to Maya for specific things. So kit bashing is kind of a hard thing to do, and there's a lot of stuff with kit bashing that doesn't go well because the first thing you want to do is you want to basically find kit bash parts that are not very specific to an artist. So I used to use Vitaly's kit bash kit quite a bit, and even then, it's got his distinctive style. But if you tweak it around a bit, you can kind of get away from that. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make it not be, you want it to kind of fit the artistic style of what you're working on. And then the other thing is, don't do too much of it. So David is, what project have I done that's pretty big? Well, I'll tell you. One of the biggest things that I've done, recent things, is this. And let me see if I can find it for you here. Unfortunately, I can't load the parts in because I signed NDAs. I can't actually show you the model. I wish I could. It's pretty impressive. But 2020 Olympics ad. So I worked on the Olympics ad for Toyota. And let's see. It's this one right here. So, and I will just kind of skip to the parts I worked on. So so you see this taxi. A friend of mine modeled this yellow cab, and then the kid touches it and turns into a modern cab, right? So it turns into that and morphs into that. So I worked on this version of the cab, right? So that was me, and I think this is still the model, right? So that was kind of the initial. So I modeled this cab, and then I also so that was pretty big. And then I modeled this robot. This was probably the most complex thing I've ever done. I modeled this Toyota robot, and it's it was just there for a second, but it took me a week and a half to 2 weeks to do that thing. I think about a week and a half. And then I modeled this thing now here that's going to change into this car, like this. I modeled that. Here it is again. So I modeled all that. And last but not least, I modeled this bus. I modeled part of it, I should say. Another person started it up and I finished it off. So here, this old bus kind of changes to this new kind of low emission bus, and I modeled that one. So kind of recently, that's the biggest thing I worked on, but I've also worked on other projects. But this comes to mind because I just finished it not too long ago. And I'm kind of bummed that they're not going to, the Olympics didn't happen, but I'm sure they'll use the ad for when it does. Or maybe they'll make a new one, I don't know. But yeah, it's fun to get on cool projects. And sometimes I get on, you know, I think the reason why I got on that project is because they needed somebody for the robot, and so I fit the bill pretty nicely. And then they had me do the other stuff too. It's a fun group of people to work with. All right, so here what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can duplicate this way. If I like this or this, I think this makes more sense structurally. Let's see if this works. Notice here that every time I rotate and do stuff, it kind of messes it up over here, but that's fine because I can just mirror and weld it over again. All right, let's just make sure we're not getting those streaks. That's good. Like if it was good topology, it'd be easy to fix, but since it's not good topology, I have to kind of do some extra work. All right, I kind of like the way it was before, but this will work. I think this is good enough. Okay, so now I'm going to just duplicate this whole assembly. Again, I only just care about one side of this thing because the other side I can duplicate and or mirror and weld. And let's see, this one goes in this way, like so. Now the other thing with kit bashing is you got to always figure out how to hide the seams, so to speak. So where it's connecting here, I need to make it so it looks like it's part of coming out of that piece and not like some weird jutting out part. So I'll probably do some work to fix that later on. Right, so that's going to do that over there like so. Let's mirror and weld this to the other side. And all right, so that's kind of good for a start. Now we can add some more kit bash parts. So let's go kit bash shopping. All right, delete this one. See what we can see here. Kind of like this part, I'll use it somewhere. All right. So as you can see, I mean, there are some design elements that that this has, but I'm trying to hide them or break them in every way that I can so that it kind of conforms to what I'm working on and is a bit different than everything else. Did something happen to the color here in the background? Or did it become light again? All right, let's change that. Do something here real quick. Restore custom UI. All right. And let me make that background a little bit darker. So this is just basically going to be this part over here. And I don't know if I'm going to have a claw or something. Maybe this goes back further. I don't know. Let's see. A lot of times with kitbash, I don't just kind of place the part. I always kind of do a little bit of what if work. So see, there's kind of a conflict here. There's this, and they look the same. So, and they're not the same scale. So that kind of breaks it. So now what I need to do is make them the same scale and see if that'll work. And if it doesn't, then I'll have to abandon this part here and put it somewhere else. I think I'm going to abandon it. But also I'm going to use extender on it. I found another good place for it. I think it works really nicely as that place the smaller spaceships come out from down here. All right. So there's this kind of, I need to make it integrate with what's there. So I'm going to push it out like this. That looks good. And I think it looks good like this. The extender is still active, by the way, so I can go back to it. And if I don't want it to be this wide, I can make it less wide. Maybe like that. Let me make sure that this didn't intersect itself. It did, easily fixed. So here, these are edge loops, so I can just delete them. See how it's crossing over. So what I can do here is I'm going to use this other trick. So the good news is that what's in between whatever is there is just good topology, so I can easily fix it. So here what I'm going to do is go to delete poly loop, go in this direction. Just want it to kind of go in the, there we go. It's just doing it for like 1 second. Come on. Actually, I could do it this way too. Delete a single poly. Let's get rid of this one. See how it's crossing over? So I wanted both of those gone. So now maybe it'll be easier to just do the poly loop. Delete. Oops. Poly loop. If I make my brush smaller, maybe. See, I just don't want it to go in this direction. I don't want it to go this way. I want it to go this way. And it's really hard to kind of get that right angle to do it. Let's see if I can do it in further. Here we go. That does it. Delete poly loop. Here we go. And this one and this one. Okay, and I don't know why I didn't think about this earlier, but there's even an easier way of doing this. So I'll bring it in. What I'm going to do is just select this poly group. Like that. Look at all this inside part. I don't need that either. So I'm going to do a selection of that, get rid of it, delete hidden. And now I'm going to use this really, let's double up our view here to see the inside. And I'm going to use this really kind of cool thing. I'm hoping it's going to work. Let me mirror and weld it. So it's the same on both sides. And then I'm going to use the bridge capability, or the bridge capability of edge bridge, 2 holes. And so we're going to go between here and here. It's too many subdivisions. Let's do it again, but not with so many. I think if I turn perspective on, I'll be able to see both of these edges. So 1 edge, 2nd edge, and about maybe that many subdivisions, like so. All right, that looks much better. All right, cool. So now we've got this part that launches all the different ships. And what does the front look like? It looks okay. I might just kind of make it a simple front. But you can see I'm not really, you know, the reason why kit bashing parts work with me or work for me is because I don't usually use them vanilla, and I have very strict rules on what I do and how I make it work. So, all right, so there looks like there's an empty space over here. That would be nice if it was filled. Let's see here. Can I do it? Again, all the topology in between the parts. Let's see, this is all like janky topology, probably coming from CAD or something. But this inside part is good, so I want to see if there's a way to connect the inside part together. I'm sure there is, but right now I'm not going to worry about it, because it'll probably find some other part to jam in there. All right, and let me make sure that the angle is good. It is. Let's say it goes about there. Kind of like the profile that it has down here, so it's kind of is good. All right, so that's one more part jammed in. Let's go pick some other ones. So the other thing I want to work on is the jet engines in the back, and it looks like there's this. And whenever I'm looking at these kit bash parts, I'm always looking at them kind of in a different way. Like, I'm always looking at them like, not only can I use this, but how can I change this so it is useful for me. So here's another set. Let's look at these ones. I'm looking at these parts thinking, okay, how could this be a jet engine? I like this part a lot, but it's more like a gun muzzle. How about here? Bring this count down to 8. Delete this one. These kind of look interesting and could very well be like an engine part. Turn perspective off for a second. This one for sure. Kit bash duplicate. Paste. It's weird, there's like screw kind of things in here, which I probably should get rid of at some point, but for now it's fine. And these will be kind of over here, like so. As kind of the placeholder, I mentioned that these were placeholders for them. So they're going to be like 4 kind of jet exhausts over here. And this part looks like it's a good kind of part for that. So let's mirror it to the other side. And let's put it set up top. It's always the other one. All right, let's see. Did anybody have any questions? Mother Goose is asking, Goose84 is asking, do I do hard surface or do I organic? I do organic too. I do everything. You know, to me, surface is surface. It seems to me that it's kind of not cool that they separate it out. I mean, I know why they do, and I understand, but for me, surface is surface. If you can do it, if you can do one, you should be able to do the other. But I enjoy doing mechanical things more, if that makes sense. Like doing a robot or a mech is entirely more enjoyable for me than doing like a stylistic character, which I could also do, but I tend to not want to if I can help it. All right, so I did kind of a no-no here where I have these top ones and these bottom ones, and they're different sizes. So I'm going to get rid of the bottom one. Oh, delete hidden. Yeah, if you have things that are similar, you should always use the same size. Like I see people's models and they have a bunch of different screws and they have the same screws but they're different sizes. That really kind of ruins the design for me. Okay, those look good over there. Let's go see what we can find in this one. Again, all I'm looking for right now is like jet exhaust looking things. Here, let's try this one. Oops. Kitbash duplicate. Paste. Unify. All right, so this one, I like the way it is in a lot of ways, but I also don't in others, so I have to kind of contort it to do what I need it to do. Right there. So I'll be doing a lot of this over the next few weeks before we do the next stream. Oh, by the way, I always do, my streams are Fridays from 7 to 9, every other Friday. So next Friday I won't have one, but the Friday after I will. And they're all recorded, so you can watch them after if you are not available during the time frame. And but if you are watching live, you can ask questions. That's the benefit. It's kind of nice when you're watching live too, so it kind of makes me feel like I'm not talking to an empty room. Right now I'm talking to people all over the world. It's such a trip to be able to do that. It's awesome. All right. I'm going to hide these kind of things that I had before. Where are they? These ones. So see, now I've got two kitbash parts in there. They're two separate parts, so they're adding a different type of look. So the kitbash doesn't look like it was before. It looks a little bit different. And now I just need to put some exhausts on here and I am done. And hopefully I can find some exhausts, or otherwise I'll have to make some. And then I have to kind of figure out some sort of a cover, so we'll do that as well. Hey Bruno. Good of you to join us, bud. All right, let's see here if I can find some more. I got to change this autosave frequency. It's autosaves pretty quick. If I just stay idle for 1 minute, it starts autosaving. On one hand, it's good because because you know if I get a crash or something, there's a save there. But on the other hand, it kind of can take a while, especially if I have a lot of kitbash parts loaded in. Usually when I'm working, I load these kitbash parts one at a time. I don't have them all loaded in like I do here. But just to make the stream faster, I have them all in the file. So then it takes a little bit longer to save. All right. Here we go. So you can see here, and slowly but surely, this thing is starting to look. And you know, we're going to be looking at this from this distance. And we can do a quick render here to see what it would look like. Do a quick BPR. It's always good to do that just to kind of get an idea. Let me make sure here that I've got perspective on. And so this kind of gives us some ideas of what this thing's going to look like. So a lot of these parts are working fine. Let's do render from the back. So yeah, I mean, imagine if this is going to be in a show or something, it's going to be looked at from different angles. So the difference between what I do in concept design and what a lot of Photoshop people do is Photoshop people can do concepts really fast. So they can do an image really, really fast, right? And if they're good, they can probably render the thing from different angles. But once the show starts, then people have to go in and actually, you know, build the stuff. And sometimes it doesn't look as good as it does in 2D. So the good news is if I'm doing this in ZBrush, I can visualize this thing from all angles, right? So, you know, I can always make sure that it's fitting to the story and it's fitting to kind of the design requirements that that the showrunners have, right? So, you know, it takes a little bit longer, of course, to do this in ZBrush, to do it in 3D, but on the other hand, it saves a lot of time on the other end of things. And it definitely saves time to when you're having to redo stuff. All right, let's look at some other kitbash parts here. Here we go. Man, I loaded this to do the wings, and we did them already, but maybe I can add one more part here. Maybe this one. I had the lasso. It would have been perfect for this. Then I went back to the rectangle. Here we go. Kitbash duplicate. I think it does the copy already. I just need to do the paste in here. Let's see. Nope. Yeah, it does do it. All right, so here we go. Smaller. Maybe I can add this to the wing itself. I'm calling it wings, but it's really not wings. They're just reflectors. Now for something like this, I can, you know, either align it to the wing or do that, or another thing I can always do is I can just kind of rotate it like this, solo it out, press F, unify it. Like so, center this stuff on it, and then I can just create an insert mesh with it. New insert mesh brush, and now I can just delete this part. I don't need it anymore. And then I can just go to one of the wings here. I guess these ones are selected. I can just, is it on? No! Please don't crash. This is where I'm really happy that the autosaves were happening. So, a good kind of lesson to learn is that the reason probably why this is happening is because that kitbash part was not manifold geometry. Right? So a lot of these models that are kitbash parts that you buy, they've been modeled, but they have they're modeled in CAD or whatever and then just converted. And so if you use them as a, yeah, here we go. That's fine. And it is going to save. All right, cool. So we're not going to lose anything. We're just going to lose this brush, but probably it's because it's non-manifold geometry. And here we'll look into it when ZBrush loads back up. Hey, Bishal, how's it going? Where are you from, Bishal? Where are you logging in from? All right. We've got another person whose name looks like it's either Chinese, Japanese, or yeah, it's either Chinese or Japanese. No, I can't tell from Twitch. He says, "Oh no." Where are you from, Mr. Oh no? I guess that's what I'll call you. Yeah, you know, when I'm working in ZBrush, like when I'm doing a session like this, let's see, how long am I doing? This is an hour and a half, and working with kind of questionable kitbash kits. So, all right, so I think it recovered the file, so we're good. We can load it back in. And this is why the quick save or the auto save in ZBrush is pretty helpful. So it definitely got us out of the woods this time. All right. We'll be back on track in minutes here. All right, so we covered project. Oh, it's Korean. Yeah, well, there you go. I wonder if there's an easy way to look at characters and figure out what they are. I'm not that familiar. I mean, I love the way the characters look, but I have a hard time distinguishing the nationality. And especially now it's blue on red, so the contrast is kind of funky too. But South Korea, thank you for joining us. I don't know what your name is. I can't read it, but thanks for joining us. So we have a lot of representation from Asia. That's great. All right, so we're almost there, guys. We got a good half an hour to go, and I might go a little bit extra. We'll see how I feel. All right, yep, we're back on track. So this was the part right here, right? So let's look at this part. You guys can see why it would be problematic. See all these weird triangles and stuff that it's got. So I could actually do a couple of things here. I can go to geometry here and check mesh. Okay, so it looks like check mesh worked, fix mesh worked too. Now another thing I usually do is sometimes I mirror it. Mirror and weld it. Not like that, but maybe mirror and weld it. That's going to do. Let's rotate it this way. Let's see what we get there. So sometimes I do a mirror and weld like this, and it works better. I don't know if I want to take the chance though this time. I'm just going to copy it and paste it, and not do the insert mesh brush. Insert mesh brushes and things like that, which are more, I wonder if it crashed because it was masked. That could be an issue too. All right, so there it is. Let's unify it. I'm going to give this one more try. I don't know why I'm going to do it. It's going to waste more time, but if it does, it's fine. And what we're going to do here is just going to go and create an insert mesh. New. All right, so we got that insert mesh brush. Let's go here to this one. Solo this up. Turn off solo. And go to the wings. Solo that. Maybe not solo it. Oh, see, now it worked. I think the problem was that the wings were masked, and that's why I had that crash. So now the reason why I did it this way is because I know it's going to put it right on the surface of what's this little thing here on there? Let's see. Oh, there's a little version of it on here. Yeah, we don't want that. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's this tiny thing over here. I just want to get rid of it. Oh, here we go. I think that might have been the one that we put in before. Or I don't know where it came from, but here we'll just do it over again. There's the brush, go off solo. So now this is exactly on that surface, is what I was trying to say this whole time. Is that now it put this right on the surface there, so I don't have to kind of do a lot of alignment. And maybe this piece goes, turn off polyframe, goes right here. Ah, it's not on the surface. Maybe I didn't orient it right. I don't know. I just need to make sure I turn this thing off. All right. Let's see if that actually does something better to the design, or if it's just... Yeah, I think it sells it more. So we're going to stick with it. What if I move this over to here? Maybe this part goes over here. All right, that's cool. And then let's copy it. Let's see if we can put one this way. So a lot of these techniques that I'm using, if you guys are interested in like how I do something from beginning to end, why is this not moving? Well, let's try this one more time. Oh, I see why. Because it's not separated out yet. That's why. What I was going to say is that if you guys are interested in seeing kind of like a project from start to finish, I have a good tutorial on the Gnomon Workshop of a mech that I do. And I do that one from all the way from the start. So I do it from, that's what's been going on. This was on for some reason. I do it from all the way from the beginning to the end. So all the way from the beginning of in VR, and then we don't have this brush. That's what's going on too. I start out concepting it in VR, and then develop it into a full-on mech. It's a fun one to watch if you guys have the time, or if you have a subscription to the Gnomon Workshop, you can watch it. And it's pretty recent. And that's when I thought up how to do kitbash duplicate. All right, so there it's good, but we're going to move it over to here. And then what I'm going to do here, right now this part is part of that wing, so I'm just going to split unmask points. Let's split mask points, so now it's its own thing. And now, let me do this. I can just duplicate it. And I'm wondering if this would be a good one to kind of have as the separation mechanism. Like so. And again, once I get up close, you know, these aren't really going to work well. But again, it's not really CAD. It's just, you know, it's just kind of a design. And in the render, if I do a render from far away, all these will just look like interesting details. They won't really look like what they are. And even if they're a little bit off, it's not going to matter as much. Is it mirroring? It is mirroring. Okay. This one was a little bit off rotationally this way. Here we go. All right. Now, you know, there's a lot of foundational stuff that I'm doing that I'm not really talking about, but it's all kind of important stuff to know. So that worked okay. This gigantic one over here is totally not needed, so I can completely get rid of that one right here. Although it's kind of cool over there like that. I mean, I'm definitely not going to keep it there. I'm just kind of looking to see if there's any design elements that would add to this. Nope. Gone. All right, so let's see other kitbash parts. Now I want to add the jet engines to this. I think I did add them. Where'd they go? Did I hide them? Yeah, here they are. Why are they not showing up? Those are good. So let's see if we can find some other jet kind of, this kind of looks good. Let's see if there's anything else. Let's continue looking. This one at the end. Nope. Okay, there's a ton of stuff here. This song's going to put me to sleep, so I'm going to skip to the next one. All right. It was good, it just was not timely. All right, so these are pretty simple, straightforward, but I could still use them. Kind of like this one. Let's use this one, and then we'll tweak it quite a bit. Oh, wait. I'm going to use this one instead. Paste. Unify. So yeah, I'm going to probably make another macro or another script that does the paste and unify. All right, so with this one, it's pretty straightforward, but what I want to do, actually I want it to go this way. This is going to be the thing that is over here. Let's get it matched up. All right, so that's good, but what I want to do is extend this thing. So I'm going to do that. Now, the thing about extender is that when you use extender, whoa, that's kind of cool, but didn't want to do that. That's even better. Maybe not as much. The cool thing about extender is it does this too. Like you can taper it on one side, which is exactly what I wanted to do. The thing about extender though is when you extend out, so when you're using the extender option, it does it from the center, right? So you still have to move your object over. So let's say we want to do this, but I want to see that inside part. So let me solo this out. Let's see what kind of, oh man, look at this inside part. It's so bad. It's so bad. All right, let's see. Like I just want to add an edge loop there, but I can't. But I'm going to do this in a different way. I'm just going to make this thing smaller like this. And then I'm just going to polygroup all the outside parts. So here, let's see if I can do this in one shot. Just want to grab all these guys and polygroup them. So I polygroup these two, but not the inside parts. Let's see if I can do this. Use the mouse. All right, for some reason, I'm not able to see the whole thing. Come on. All right, what if I just click once? Yeah, I don't know what's happening here. So I can toggle between them, but oh, here we go, finally. All right, so what I want to do is I also want to do these outside parts, and I think I can because they're contiguous. They're good geometry. So what I'm going to do here is polygroup, polyloop. It's going to be an adventure, but it'll work. So what we're going to do is polygroup, polyloop, and what I'm going to do is do this first and absorb that color, and go around this way. Yep, that's one. And that's two. All right, so now what I'm going to do is QMesh polygroup all. See what that would look like. Yep, there we go. Cool. Now that gives me that inside part. And now I just want to push this in. So QMesh polygroup all, no, just polygroup island, and push this in. So again, I'm using this really janky kitbash part, but I'm making it work with certain parts. And then this part here we'll figure out something for, but let's see what that looks like. Yep, so that's what I wanted. I wanted that cut in so I could see that inside part, because I think that adds some cool visual interest. Okay. Smear and weld this to the other side. That's cool. And then I'm going to mirror and weld. I'm just going to copy them down below to here. Let's see, where do they go to? I think just about there. All right, now the problem is on the front part, I mean, it doesn't show from the front, but I kind of, I guess I could just leave that open. But I'd have to figure out a way to make it work with the rest of the model. All right, so that's good. So now I've just basically added these kind of jet parts to the back. They look kind of not integrated well, so maybe I'll make them bigger. So to do that, I just will do it with one of them. I want these to be bigger. Let's make sure this is centered. I mean, I can more accurately center it, but I think I can just eyeball it here. I think it'll be fine. A little bit bigger, about there. Let's see if these look any better. So they're going to about here. Invert the mask. All right, so I don't know. I like the Bob Ross. Oh, you can't get away from it, can you? Happy little clouds. Well, this is kind of an interesting thing with this keyboard is that if I guess it's going to save. Let's let it save. Hopefully it's saving and not crashing. All right, let's see. Oh, okay, so Dear Me was using his cell phone. Wow, yeah, that's an interesting thing. I guess you can watch this on a cell phone too. All right, so Bishal has a question. You're asking about the background change, color change? Yeah, I can show you. I don't know what's going on here. I'm just going to wait and see. It's doing something, and I'm hoping it's going to come back from whatever it is it's doing. Nope. Oh, come on. Oh, well, we're saving the project, so we're good. We're not going to lose any work. So, Bishal, I'll show you as soon as we load back up. I'll show you what the how to change your background. It's pretty easy. It's pretty cool. It's one of the first things that I kind of had to do. If anybody has any other questions, now is a good time to ask. It's pretty interesting. During these streams, I usually start out with a certain number of people, and then over time it gets more and more and more. So I think we got about 65 people right now. It's pretty good. Okay. All right, so I think we're almost there. The saving, file saved successfully. This died. Excuse me. All right, so ZBrush is back. All right, so before I load that, I'll very quickly go ahead and talk about the background. So the background in ZBrush, you know, it doesn't really come with this background, right? It comes with a different one. It's all in Document. So if you go to Document menu here, this is the background color, right? And then this is the range, and the center of the range, the rate, and border 1 and border 2. So if you want to change the color of the background, first thing I usually do is I choose the color I want. So let's say I'm going to choose a darker gray, like maybe so, right? So this is the color I'm going to use. And if you go to Document, you click on back and you just drag to this color, and now it's going to be that color, right? And then the range gives you a gradient, right? So if you go over here and you click on the range, then you start getting a gradient. I don't usually use gradients when I do streaming because I think it kind of doesn't translate well. It takes longer. So yeah, that's how you do it. So here I'm going to make it a little bit lighter. So I just choose the color, go to document, click on back, and just move my, and then notice wherever I move to, it's going to be that color. So this is the background color, and this is the other background color, and now it's going to be this one, right? So that's how you do it. So hopefully that answers your question. All right, so let's go ahead and open that up. And I think I have a couple more questions. I'll answer those as this is coming in. So recover document right here. All right. Okay, how much memory do you use in your computer? I was doing okay with 32 for a long time, 32 gigs. But then I had a project that came in and it needed more, so I went out and bought another 32, so I had 64. And then another project came in and it needed even more, so I had to go buy another 64. So right now I'm sitting at 128, which I think, you know, is okay. But most of the time I don't go over, I don't think I go over 32. So I don't know. If you have big projects, you have a lot of with a lot of parts and a lot of detail work, then you probably need to get more memory. Did I not load the right thing? Maybe not. Let's try this one more time. I think I loaded the document, not the project. Which one? Okay, this one's the project. This is the one we want. Nope, we don't want to save changes. So yeah, I think 32 is fine. I know a lot of artists that have 16, they're fine too. So 32 I think is a good place to start if you can afford it. If you can't, 16 is okay. And then if you've got projects that come in that need more, you just get more as needed. ZBrush doesn't really, unless you have really dense big models with a lot of parts, you'll use up memory, but most of the time you can do really well with less. ZBrush isn't a resource hog like some other programs. VNAPIOR, hopefully that answers your question. Okay, we're back on track here with this fun bit. All right, let's get this centered. Make it a little bit bigger. All right, so the thing is, what I wanted to do is get rid of these bottom ones. So let me do that now. Solo. Just, delete hidden, and let's go back to here. By the way, you can also find out how much memory I have by looking up here, right? So it kind of tells you how much memory you're using, how much memory there is, and all that good stuff. All right, so these are looking better. There's kind of a weird transition between these back wings, so I probably will have to figure out a place to put these back, not wings, but the back kind of reflectors, so this transition isn't up close. Like you wouldn't have, moving parts very close to the jet engine. All right, so there's that. Okay, that's looking good. And then we kind of have to create some interesting exhaust pieces over here. So for that, I'm just going to duplicate these guys. And split the mass parts. And for these guys, I'm just going to keep just parts of them. I think I'm going to keep these parts. keep these outside parts too. Let me see if I can do this a different way. Right, so just select this. Actually, I have a better way of doing this. I just thought of. Right, so use this and delete polyloop, get rid of these guys like so. Probably do this one out here too. And turn double on so I could see the other side. Hey, Toronto, how's it going? Danny. Danny, thank you for having a pronounceable name. And by that I mean like you're not Shadow Warrior 12 or something like that, which is fine. All right, we don't want these either. Right. And I don't really care about 4 of these. I just want one to work, and then I'm just going to delete island. There. I just wanted this tube. That's the only thing that I wanted. So I'm going to delete hidden. And for this one, I just want to add some subdivisions. So I kept a little piece, didn't I? This one can go away too. Right, so do nothing for polygons, and for here, I want to add a bunch of edge loops. Like so. All right, and then I don't have interactive on. Interactive, let's do it that way. So I just want these to kind of be as much of a square shape as they can. Like so. And let's add some depth to this. I think it'll be the same polygroup. Oh, I wanted to get rid of all the creases. So geometry, crease, uncrease all. Okay, and QMesh. All right, this is kind of what I wanted. Move it to this top one. All right, and what I want to do with this is I'm going to use another one of these things here. I'm going to use taper, and I want this to taper out. Not too much. Just about there. And then let's see here if this will work. Polygroup. Oh, do nothing with edge. For that, what we want to do is polygroup and checker. And let's do the whole thing. Nope. Is the one that's stripes? No. Point order, topological, 6 sides. What I wanted to do is create some holes, but maybe I can do it a different way. Let's try and do it this way. QMesh, single poly, and what we'll do, let's see if it works first of all. Yep, goes in, and with dynamic subdiv it looks like that. That's cool, that's what I want. So now I want to do a bunch of those, so I'm going to use radial symmetry. Activate symmetry, radial, and not X, but I think it's Z. Let's see if it is. Nope. Now let's do it local too. Where are you? Local symmetry. Yep, here we go. All right. So now I can just go like this. We have 8, so let's go to 20. Let's see if that works. No. It's saying non-symmetrical. Why? All right, well, let's see if I can make this symmetrical by doing a mirror and weld X. Maybe I need to choose, let's try 16. No. The thing is, I don't really know how many sides this has. Let me do something else here. I did a mirror and weld X. Let me do a mirror and weld Y as well. All right, let's see if this works now. Yep, here we go. Turn dynamic subdiv on. All right, come on. There we go. I think I could do a few more of these. All right, let's see. Some questions. Hey Nitrox, how are you? Let's see. Yarzar is saying that he thinks 3ds Max is easier for this project. I don't know. I don't know if you can do a lot of these things in 3ds Max, but you know, everybody can use the tools that they're comfortable with, I guess. All right, that's good. This radial symmetry, turn on X symmetry. there's a lot of artists that are really good at using 3ds Max. And they do amazing stuff with it, so I don't doubt that it is a cool way of doing the same thing. All right, mirror and weld this to the other side. Oh. Let's turn local off. Whoa, all right, cool. I did it all in one shot. So mask these. And move these into place. All right, so now we have the jet engines. Let's get these to be I think I just want to get one of them to work, like maybe this one on the bottom, and then we'll do the other ones accordingly. All right, I'm really liking how those turned out, so we're good there. I just have to figure out how to kind of make these work with the edges over here, but for the most part, that's good enough. All right, so let's see what this looks like with the back of the spaceship connected. I guess it looks okay. I just have to figure out a way to kind of house this in here. And when this thing launches, it's not going to blast off from this back part. It's probably just going to detach and float away. And then once it's kind of far enough, maybe it'll use some thrusters or something to get it further ahead and then kick those jets in. So I think that kind of looks good enough. I'm kind of still figuring out what I want to do here, but I have some ideas, so we'll see. But this is starting to look pretty much the way I like it to. How are we doing on time? Oh, wow, we're 11 minutes over. Okay, so do you guys have any last questions before we end tonight's session? And what I'll do over the next couple of weeks, hopefully this time I will have time, is work on the rest of this and finish the modeling. So next week we'll start doing some texturing, and then the following week, a week or weeks, we'll do some composition and rendering as well. So any last minute question, ladies and gentlemen, before we end this? All right, I'll wait a few minutes for the lag, take a swig of tea, and then we'll end it. All right, looks like no questions, so good. Thanks again for joining us, and hopefully we will continue this in a couple of weeks. Everybody stay safe. Make sure you follow the guidelines of where you are. Let's get rid of this COVID thing so we can go back to our everyday life. And thanks again for joining, and bye-bye.